So what we're going to do today is dive into a metaphysical drama. And I mean, this isn't just a story about a character, it's a story about the nature of story itself. It's all about a hero who looks at the script she's been handed for her life, tears it to pieces, and decides, you know what, I'm going to be the author now.
And the entire thing kicks off with this really gut-wrenching question. Just think about it for a second. If you had to choose, what would it be? A universe that's frozen solid, a single, sterile truth where you have zero freedom, or a universe that's just dissolved into an infinite pulp of contradictory stories, where nothing is real. I mean, which tyranny is worse? This is the dilemma that frames our entire story.
All right, let's jump into Act 1, A War for Reality. And that subtitle is absolutely key, The Unacceptable Choice. Because right from the get-go, we're dealing with a battle where both possible outcomes feel like their own kind of hell.
And this image just perfectly captures that core conflict. On one side, you've got the tyranny of the absolute, this perfectly ordered, crystalline prison. And on the other, you have the tyranny of the relative, just a chaotic, shattered mess of competing stories. One reality is frozen solid, the other has completely melted away.
So, who's championing this side of absolute order? Well, meet Vril Docs. He's described as a creature of pure mind, a being that looks at all the beautiful, messy chaos of the universe and only sees a flawed equation that he is just desperate to solve. And things like emotion, kindness, to him that's just noise, it's weakness, chaotic variables just gumming up his perfect system. And his method for solving the universe is called subtractive purification. I mean, just think about that name. He doesn't want to add anything to reality, he wants to take things away. He wants to literally prune existence of free will, of random chance, of anything messy until only one single static truth remains. And here's the really chilling part. To make sure his wisdom is absolute, his plan is to gather all knowledge and then destroy the original worlds they came from.
And then, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we've got the demon of chaos, the Continuist. Now get this, the Continuist isn't really a person in the way we think of one. It's the living embodiment of a retcon. You know, that thing in comics or movies where they suddenly change the past? Well, he is that, a self-aware force of narrative decay.
His method, additive corrosion. He doesn't destroy things physically, no, he destroys meaning. He just keeps injecting thousands of contradictory histories into reality, fracturing our collective memory until nothing feels real anymore. His goal is something called ultimate pulp, a reality that has all the weight and permanence of a cheap dime store novel where every single story is totally disposable. And this parable just nails their conflict perfectly. Okay, so picture all of existence as a library. Vril Docs is the librarian. He's a purist who burns every single book except for one perfectly logical encyclopedia, and then forces everyone to read only that one unchangeable truth. But the Continuist? He's the vandal. He sneaks in at night, rewriting pages, swapping endings, changing characters, until nobody can even remember what the original stories were supposed to be.
Okay, so let's move to Act 2 and bring this down from the cosmic to the personal, because this huge war for reality, it's not just some abstract philosophical debate, it has a real human cost. And now we're going to focus on the hero's fractured soul, a character who is literally trapped in contradiction. Right at the heart of this metaphysical storm is Vampirella. For decades, her own identity has been a weapon used against her. So, is she a tragic alien from the planet Draculon? Or is she a Judeo-Christian demon, daughter of Lilith? The answer is, well, it's both, and it's neither. Her own mother Lilith used a magic mirror to deliberately warp her memories whenever she felt like it. I mean, she turned the idea of a retcon into a tool of straight-up psychological horror. And what she's feeling isn't just simple confusion. There's a specific philosophical term for it: ressentiment. It's like this deep sickness in your soul, you know? This toxic, burning resentment you feel when your entire identity has been forced on you. She has no idea who she is, only what her manipulative creator has told her she is. And this quote just, man, it captures her struggle perfectly. I'm a walking contradiction. I cannot discern the real from the reflected image in my mother's magic mirror. She's completely lost in this prison of lies, unable to trust her own memories or even her own sense of self.
So how do you possibly escape a prison like that? Well, that brings us to Act 3, the path of affirmation. This is the big turning point. This is where our hero is offered not just a choice between two terrible options, but the chance to become a creator herself.
And our guide on this new path is Sophia, the first woman. Her name literally means wisdom, which is a pretty big clue. She's presented as a Gnostic figure, someone who believes that salvation comes through knowledge. She's not a warrior who's going to fight Vampirella's battles for her. She's a scholar, a perfect thematic counterbalance to Lilith's chaos and manipulation. And this slide just lays out the choice so clearly, doesn't it? You've got Lilith, the writer, who imposes stories using a mirror of illusion, and all that does is create resentment. Then you have Sophia, the scholar. She interprets stories, using wisdom to teach affirmation. It's the choice between being a victim of your story or becoming the interpreter of it.
Okay, and this is the big one. This is the mind-bending piece of wisdom Sophia drops on her. She basically tells Vampirella to stop looking for the one true origin story. The lie, the chaos, the manipulation, that was the truth of her existence. So the key isn't to try and fix the past, but to affirm it, to accept the fabricated story as the foundation that you're going to build upon.
And that realization, oh man, that leads us right into our final act, Act 4, the author's triumph. Because once she's armed with this new philosophy, our hero becomes something else entirely, something new, something powerful. She becomes the uncontainable subject. So instead of just collapsing under the weight of all her contradictory memories, she weaponizes them. She achieves what's called a self-begotten state. She starts defining herself from the inside out, creating this closed loop that basically means no one can ever rewrite her story for her again. And then she becomes something even more, a high-level informational hazard, a living, walking paradox carrying the viral code of realities the universe itself tried to forget. She's literally uncontainable. And here is where she finally makes her final declaration. She looks at both tyrants, order and chaos, and just says, I reject your false binaries, I break the machine. She's refusing to play their game anymore. She fully embraces that Nietzschean philosophy that Sophia taught her. She becomes the Dionysian, the force of chaos, passion, and creation. She declares, I embrace the absurd. She is accepting contradiction not as a flaw that needs to be fixed, but as a fundamental truth of what it means to exist.
And this right here, this is her cutting the final chord. The origin story is dead and forgotten. She doesn't need an external, fixed identity forced upon her anymore. She is letting go of the need to be defined by her past.
And it all culminates in this ultimate statement of self-creation. The play is not yours to direct or to twist. I am the author, and I exist. It is an assertion of pure will, the final triumph of self-authorship over any predetermined fate. And this personal victory has cosmic consequences. It literally kicks off the fifth world. By fusing the raw, primal power of instinct with the conscious well of authorship, she creates a completely new metaphysical state. The old war between order and chaos, it's just over, because she forces them to fuse into a new, paradoxical whole inside of her. So her story ends, but it leaves us with this one haunting question. We know she remembers every version of herself, every deleted timeline. So, what happens when a being like that, who can weaponize her own lost histories, starts acting as an attractor for other orphaned realities? What are the true limits of a being that remembers everything the universe has tried so desperately to forget?